So it's time to start viewing houses. Now, some houses you look round will be faultless, but it's worth looking out for a few issues as they may need dealing with once you've moved in. Have a look around for signs of damp. Most damp's quite easy to fix, but it's important that you really understand why it's there so that you know how to solve it. How old is the wiring? Look at the consumer unit, which is generally under the stairs, and make sure that it's really up to date. When was the central heating fitted? How old is the boiler? Is it under guarantee? All these are things that you need to ask. Does the garden matter to you? Which way is the house facing? Is it going to be a north-facing house or a south-facing house? If you don't want a dark garden, you need to be aware of this. Lastly, storage. Now, if you've got loads and loads of clutter and there's not much storage, it's just not going to look as wonderful once you've moved in. Now, when you're looking around the outside of a building, there's a few things you should be aware of. Look for slipped slates or tiles, because it may mean that the roof will need replacing at some point in the near future. And then look at the flashing around the chimney and see if that's fallen away. The guttering, have a look at that and see if that's slipped down or it's old and needs replacing. Next, you need to look for signs of subsidence, and this tends to be cracking and the vertical and horizontal lines of the windows and the doors to see if they're not quite horizontal or vertical anymore. It isn't necessarily a problem, but it's a sign that you need to look out for. Lastly, look for bellying or bowing in the walls. So that might be a vertical wall here with a little bow in it, and that may mean that the building needs tying together. None of these things are a disaster. You shouldn't necessarily not buy the house. You should just be aware that remedial action may well be needed. So those are some of the key things you should be looking out for when you're looking to buy a house. Don't be scared of them, don't be put off by them, just be aware.